Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over a really popular health trend right now, and that's fibermaxxing. So what is fibermaxxing? Fibermaxxing is the practice of intentionally adding in high fiber foods and sometimes fiber supplements into your diet with the goal of aiming to reach or exceed the recommended daily intake. So just as a reminder, for women, you are aiming for 25 grams a day, and for men, this is 38 grams. So fibermaxxing would be hitting that goal and sometimes going over it. So why it's so popular right now? First and foremost, gut microbiome health. Gut health is huge. We just did a challenge on it. Gut health is so important. It's key to our overall health. So with fibermaxxing, fiber feeds the beneficial, the good gut bacteria, which helps improve our digestion, our immune function, and even mental health. So the second reason fibermaxxing is really popular right now are for its effects on blood sugar and metabolic health. Fiber slows the absorption of glucose, which can help stabilize our blood sugar, keeping us fuller longer. But particularly in this day and age where we're seeing a rise in insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, the addition of fiber can really help combat those high blood sugar values. The other reason fibermaxxing is so popular is for heart health. So soluble fiber, like those found in oats, psyllium husk, which is a popular fiber supplement, beans, lentils, legumes, these can all lower your LDL or your bad cholesterol, and that will improve your overall cardiovascular health. Longevity and health span are also two big reasons why fiber is so popular. There's a good amount of research that links high fiber intake with lower overall inflammation and reduced risk of chronic disease, specifically obesity, type 2 diabetes, as well as colon cancer. And finally, fibermaxxing is really popular for its effects on satiety and weight management. Fiber adds bulk to food without adding a whole heck of a lot of calories, so this will promote the feeling of fullness as well as appetite control. So how does fibermaxxing work? So this includes loading up your meals with fiber-rich foods. So think vegetables, think beans and lentils, and think whole grains. Sometimes fiber powders like psyllium husk I talked about before, you can add those to your diet as well. So personally, I add a little bit of psyllium husk to orange juice in the morning before my workout. But you could also add it to smoothies or coffees. Other ways that people fiber max are by choosing high fiber protein bars or snacks. You'll see a lot of food companies and food manufacturers are putting high fiber foods. I would just use a word of caution that any processed packaged foods that has fiber added to it can cause GI distress, and you don't want to rely on overly processed foods and snacks nowadays. So a couple other interesting points about fibermaxxing. One way to think about doing this is to think about a fiber forward meal prep. So what I mean by that is typically when we design a meal prep, we're thinking of what's our protein and we build the meal around that. I encourage you to think in the reverse. So think about what's my vegetable, what's my whole grain, what's my bean, what's my lentil, like what's my high fiber food, and then build around that as well. Also, whether or not you're a fan of meal tracking, something that I do recommend if you're curious as to what your fiber intake is just for one day. You could input your food log into a MyFitnessPal, or if you've been seeing me as a client, you have access to Practice Better, which has a free meal planning tool as well. Just input your intake, and that way you can see how many grams of fiber you're currently getting in a day, so you can see how far off you are. And then feel free to meet with me and we can brainstorm ways on where you can add fiber into your diet. So of course, like anything, there definitely are some potential downsides that I want you to be aware of. Anytime you're increasing the amount of fiber in your diet, whether it's from whole real foods or processed snack foods, any increase in fiber too fast can cause bloating or GI distress. So this is something you want to go low levels and slow. Don't be afraid to take your time if you're trying to work on increasing your fiber intake. The other thing I just want to reinforce is that, you know, it is easy to rely on overly processed high fiber snacks, but I always want you to encourage you to choose whole, real sources of fiber as well. One of the amazing things about fiber is its effect that it has on our gastrointestinal health and helping us to become regular. However, one of fiber's things is it bulks up our stool. So if we're over fibering without drinking enough water, we'll just have a big bulked up stool with nowhere to go, and that'll lead to some pretty vicious constipation. So you guys should be hydrating half your body weight in ounces every day as it is, but especially if you're adding in fiber. So take away messages from here. Fiber is great. I love it. You want to get as much as you can from whole, real food sources. And then if you do want to add in a supplement like a psyllium husk, I'm okay with that too. Just please make sure that you're drinking a ton of water with that. So please, 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 I love talking about fiber. I love talking about all nutrition. Reach out if you have any questions, if you need help for me to look over your current meal plan and where we can brainstorm to add in more fiber. Or if you want my help setting up a free account on Practice Better so you can input your daily food log in there to see where your fiber intake is. I'm here for it all. I hope you found this video helpful. Bye.